It's her high school picture. Jill was the type of person that she would walk into a room and everybody would gravitate towards her. And she was a beautiful soul inside and out. People say it all the time, but she really was my best friend.
In 1998, Jill Cahill was beaten by her husband Jeff with a baseball bat in their Skinny Atlas home. 7 months later, he snuck into a Syracuse hospital to kill her with cyanide.
Terrible loss, not her being here and having been around for the last 25 years to see her kids grow up. And so, you know, that's the worst part of it, I think. But, you know, just I want to remember her as who she was. This was her from my wedding. A friend of hers took this in college. That's her in her kitchen. I think that's Mary. That's because she's really small there. Mary was like 3 months early. That's Tim. She really did everything for those kids. She built the gardens around their wants, and they wanted a pond, so she built a beautiful pond back there with the koi fish and everything, and the animals that they had. They always had 2 dogs and a couple birds. I mean, and it was all really geared towards the kids. I mean, they were her life, and that was when she was assaulted and in the hospital. I think her first words were, "Where are the kids?" And this is when she first started dating Jeff. This is her with Jeff's dog, Nick. We saw Jill the last time, the Sunday before the assault. She had come home to Buffalo with the kids, and it was at Easter, which she always did. And she was telling us that, you know, they've decided to separate. You know, she assured us that everything was fine and not to worry about anything. And even my husband, before she left, grabbed her and said, you know, you don't have to go back. You can stay here. And there was no indication that there was any physical violence or anything at all. It was just they were a mess financially, and she had just had it by then. So she went back and called me on Sunday night to tell me she got home, and she said everything's fine. And then Monday morning my phone rang at 5:30, and it was his mother telling me that she was on the way to the hospital, and both of them had been injured, and that's all I knew. These are pictures from when she was in the hospital. When we finally got to see her, it was just devastating, just devastating. They had her in a self-induced coma so she wouldn't thrash around, but I mean, her head was all bandaged, broken arm, eye socket was all sunken in. I mean, we had no idea if she was even going to come out of that. This is the first day Tim and Mary went to see her. She was doing really well. She could walk with assistance, and she was actually getting to the point where they were going to release her to like a physical therapy type of facility to get her strength up. And she was communicating, and she was doing really well in physical therapy there at the hospital. And so we were really excited that this was going to be the next step, you know, step to coming home. And this was actually just before the murder. She was in therapy. It was a couple days before. Jeff had come in and poisoned Jill. So he disguised himself as a janitor on the evening of the 27th and got in and snuck into her room and put cyanide in her mouth and then took off.
Jeff Cahill was convicted and sentenced to death in 1999, but his sentence was overturned in 2003, reducing the first-degree murder conviction to second-degree murder. A year later, he was resentenced to serve 37.5 years to life. He is up for parole in 2036.
So this gave me an avenue to talk about it and somehow keep Jill's spirit alive, help others that maybe would help prevent what happened to her. Family Justice Center started designating rooms to people, sponsoring rooms for people that had been victims. You know, their families would. And I think some of my girlfriends caught on to that, and they approached Mary, said, wouldn't this be great if we did this for Jill? Her little pieces of furniture that she hand painted, some things from her house, her little artwork from high school, just the beauty of it all, you know, in the peacefulness. It's like her, it's inviting and welcoming. I can't say it gets better, but life goes on, and as long as you keep that person in your heart and maybe try to do some good to change it for others, if you have an opportunity to take that route, it's very satisfying and gratifying, and it's another thing that you're doing for the person that is no longer here.